Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Mobi. I'm Dr. Mobi. Today we have an excellent guest. He's author of great book on anxiety mood disorder, and his book is gonna do really well. Let's welcome Josh. Josh, how are you, sir?
Hi, how you doing? Good, doing good. Busy with this book and everything, and these strange vibes in the air lately. It's been really weird for people.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
doing good. I'm doing good.
good. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. With COVID and the whole lifestyle has changed, and everything. A lot of people have really shifted focus on a lot of things which nobody ever thought. So,
hmm
like family, close friends, and also Life itself is So, tell me about this book. Tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Joshua Dusk. I'm a big believer in creative energy and expression. I draw. Cross hatching is probably my absolute favorite. The style,
Mm.
kind of cross hatching in there, kind of. But
Yeah,
you kind of see it.
yeah.
But
Perfect.
I do flower design. I'm a musician. Haven't done music in a while though. But drawing, art, any type of creativity or expression, I'm a really big fan of. I think it does a lot of good
Hmm.
spiritually and mentally. That creative energy is really powerful.
Hmm.
So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
my day job is a flower designer, but this is what I really love is doing this.
Okay. Yeah, I see that there's a nice picture at the back. Probably you designed it too.
Oh, yeah. You kind of see that guy. I made a
Yeah.
poster of a couple of them.
Yeah, cool. That's very cool. Very cool. So you're artist by designer and artist by hand, and your concepts, and that probably helps you, right?
I think so. Just I don't know if it's the need to express myself or the I'm not really sure where it comes from. I do feel pretty strong. I guess any kind of artist, whatever you want to call them, can say that they feel pretty deeply. But
Hmm.
taking that feeling and expressing it out and hoping someone relates to it, I guess, is a big drive that I've
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
I like to draw and express and create. You feel powerful when you're creating.
Hmm. Hmm.
You do a picture and you look at it, you're like, oh, I nailed it. It just feels good.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and that's true. A lot of people, when they do express, they see this creation, their baby in front of them, and then
Mhm.
they can see what is in their mind, like some concept out of that. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it feels great, just like when I wrote my book, and my book is up there too, is
Mhm.
that whenever I see it, it just gives me a little satisfaction that this
Yeah, it
is
really does.
some part of me.
Yeah,
So
you can sell, sorry to interrupt you, but
uh,
like say you can work for somebody, sell vacuum cleaners or sell whatever. Um, it's not the same when you create something, and especially this guy, I feel like I can say, hey, here, this is me, and be proud to do that.
mm,
And someone, oh, okay, I get it. To have someone, oh, it's such a good feeling. I'm kind of getting at a loss for words, and I'm very stumbly with my words. I apologize
mm,
about that.
mhm. No
But
problem.
yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. So tell us about your journey for writing this book. Tell me what prompted you.
Oh, okay. Well, we go through these little vibes, these ups and downs, and these little shifts in energy. I'm a big believer in that light and energy and vibration. We are vibration.
Hmm.
I would go through these ups and downs. I might be a little manic too,
Uh,
but I'd go through these down spots. And then one time, it was a couple of years ago, I just went through this like a week or so where I was really just blah in and down. I was like, that was a weird long dark, is what I said to myself. Like, that sounds kind of cool. So I wrote it down.
hmm,
And
hmm,
then it happened maybe a month, 2 months later, it happened again, and I said it again. Like, okay, that's got to be something. So
hmm,
I started doodling in my little Walt character. I've had him for a while.
hmm,
He, oh yeah, I can talk about my kid self. But Walt, and I did this squirmy long dark thing, and it's like, okay, that's a weird long dark. It's all weird and squirmy, and what is it? And
hmm,
I'm analyzing my picture and my idea, and it's what happens to me during this time. I don't feel like waking up. I don't feel like answering the phone. I don't feel like eating. That's an extreme case, but it I'm like, okay, so it starts to get in his way. So I'm drawing Walt, and he's trying to take a bath, and it's in the bathtub getting in his way, and they just blossomed from there. I just started doing it, all ideas.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, okay. And it took like 2 years. I set it aside for a little bit. But when this pandemic hit, there's a little back
Mhm.
thing to that too. My sugar intake has never been very healthy. Pop all day long. I started getting these really bad hypoglycemic symptoms, what I discovered. And it's the worst anxiety you can imagine, double vision. And I finally narrowed it down to sugar. So I stopped my sugar. But that feeling was exactly the weird long dark. So I utilized that, kind of transmuted it into something good. It was a long transformation, and it was a long journey doing this. But then, oh yeah, this whole pandemic happened, and I had all this time to really sit down and finish it. Like I just went nuts the past like 3 4 months ago, straight drawing it and writing it, and at work writing the stuff and crossing stuff out. And so, yeah, it was quite a journey.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure that that must be quite a journey, to put all
Mhm.
your creativity there into final work and also kind of share it with all of us.
Mhm.
So tell me about some of the chapters. Tell us a little bit what it says.
Oh, it's I can read a little bit here. I can say, when I woke this morning to an ordinary day, I put my feet down to the floor, but there was something in the way. And there's a little picture of him right there trying, but there's a little weird dark thing in the ground.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, so your day starts with this feeling, and you can't. It's hard to even get out of bed. And I sat there and I stared. I know it wasn't there. I mean, I know I would have seen this thing. I mean, how could I have missed? Was
Hmm.
my vision then impaired? How am I supposed to start my day with this
Hmm.
weird long dark thing in the way?
Hmm.
And he's sitting there contemplating. So his day starts with this feeling from the get go, and it just vision impaired, kind of gets into addiction and substance abuse. Like the night before, I know this thing wasn't here, but was I impaired? I mean, am I wrong? So that's kind of how it is, and it goes through that certain parts. He can't leave the house. He can't put his clothes on. He can't eat. And that's kind of what it feels like when you're in these dark spots. And I know a lot of people are going through these dark spots lately.
Hmm.
I've actually had someone they sent a video and someone they got it for their little daughter and she was reading it. And there was a teenager in the corner and she goes up and goes like this. And they're like, "You're crying." And she's kind of laughing. They all laugh, but it touched her. She related. She has depression sometimes, and she related to that on a level that made her tear up, that someone understands that feeling. That is such a rewarding feeling. I can't even explain what that feels like.
I got
Knowing I created it. Yeah.
so what you have described is kind of original feeling, unedited version, uncensored, and you have basically, a lot of people, I'm sure, who are going through mood disorders can
Mhm.
relate to that, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I had another letter too. Someone used it to bond with their mom, who has her own weird long dark. I think maybe an addict in the past, but she hasn't been in connection with her mom. But she used this as a tool to reconnect with her, and now they get together and they're talking more often. But it was this book that got them together. And I'm not saying like, oh my God, this book is a miracle or anything. I'm just saying that it was
Mhm.
pretty amazing to hear that because I did it for me, hoping someone would relate. I
Mhm.
know what it feels like, so I did it. And you hope someone is going to relate to what you created, feel it on that level, and they did. So it's if nothing else ever happens with it, I feel like I succeeded
Well, I mean, personally, I feel that even if you change one life, that's usually
for sure. Yeah,
probably
totally.
you've served the mankind. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think if you made, I'm sure you made more than one. So, and every day probably you make one. So, and a little bit, some might find it, a lot of things in it, and some might find one tip and that kind of resets their brain and
Mhm.
gets them. So I think you are doing tremendous job. Congratulations on such a important work. because you're sharing your own thoughts and you're relating other people to find guidance, and of course that help you also. Many times it help us too, to learn from other experiences. So might have little so, some people might have a little bit different experience than me or you, but then they can relate to that, and then they find their solution, their way of handling, and then once they share that success with you or with us, we feel very powerful about that. Not only that help them, but also we actually as humans learn from their experience, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel better. And I think the fact of taking the feeling that's so negative and so dark
Hmm.
and transmuting it into something positive,
Hmm.
it's such a rewarding feeling that you get in this loop, like the depression loop. I'm not doing anything, you feel crappy about it, so you don't do anything, so you feel crappy about it. The upper side of that, where you did something that helped somebody and you feel good about it, so you continue that.
Hmm.
And then you feel good. It's so good being on that side of it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that is so true. And first of all, it takes a lot to share that. A lot of people, believe me or not, but a lot of people still have that stigma that they will say, "Oh, I'm mad, I'm this and that," but they'll not admit that could be mood disorder, that could be anxiety, that could be depression. So they could be sitting in chair for hours and not doing anything, so maybe, it didn't cross their mind that is part of depression. So some other symptoms, sleep issues, they could have concentration issues. A lot of patients come to me and they say, I, I feel like I have dementia. I can't comprehend or take care of things what I used to. And is that, am I getting dementia? I'm too young. That's why you are young. It's called pseudo dementia. Which means that it is false feeling of that you have dementia. Actually you don't, but you have the same feeling, or your thoughts as well as your concentration as well as your processes are kind of a little bit impaired to a degree that that's not normal for you. So that's about, I'm sure you know some of those, you have seen, you have heard about those, right?
Yeah, I totally. And it's scary when you're in that spot. Mine, what I narrowed it down to was, I think, hypoglycemic symptoms, but
Mhm.
non-diabetic hypoglycemic symptoms is rarer. So
Mhm.
that scares me a little bit because what was that? I mean, cognitive, you could tell me something and I wouldn't remember as you were telling me. Blurry vision. Sugar, I've cut my sugar out and I do feel better 95% of the time. So it has to be it. But that feeling when it's happening, yeah, the dementia or the you don't know what's going on with you and what's wrong with you, and it's really scary. It is a weird, long, dark
Mhm.
space there, and just I think when any version, anything people go through, it's yeah, it's
Mhm.
hard.
And same thing, I think you brought up great point is about anxiety, which feels is panic attack, but symptoms are very similar. Let's say if that happens to somebody with low sugar. So if actually with diabetes, it happens same thing. So with low sugar is a panic situation for the body. The body can sense that, and
Yeah.
so the sympathetic system, which races your heart and also blood pressure, and also causes you to have kind of really hard going out of place or whatever you feel is going to jump out of the chest. So that feeling, or and you could be sweaty, you could be some people throw up, some can just be anything. You're absolutely right, the hypoglycemic symptoms which you describe. And if you don't have diabetes, by the way, sugar can make it worse too, because sugars tend to be stimulating a lot, and at that time you really don't want stimulation, because if you do stimulate more you get more panic attack you know
Yeah.
so if you cut down sugar, that's true. So that calms you down actually a little bit, because sugars are stimulating. Sugars
Mhm.
are very stimulating. So if you give it to kid, you're bouncing around all day.
Yeah.
they don't stop. But yeah, I'm sure you have seen those. So that's true. So I think that's good that you could relate to that and you can understand that and you cut down the food to help you. That I am so glad that you are very observant and you are looking at your body. And a lot of people have this problem is they go in this cocoon and then they forget what were those good days, you know.
Yeah, if that when it was happening, sorry to interrupt you. It's like that's the only way it's been, is what it felt like. I couldn't think of any other
Yeah.
way. Like you feel like you're so trapped in that spot, and it's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way. So
Mhm.
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying for that.
And so a lot of people they just slip into that new world or whatever different world, and then they think that is normal for them, and they forget what were the good days. And then
Mhm.
then they accept this new norm, so-called new norm, but that's not new norm. I mean, that is they can easily go back if they kind of keep in touch with their old, if they're writing a diary or some kind of, if their friend or loved ones, they tell them, no, you have changed a lot, there's
Mhm.
something wrong with you. So if you accept it, if you get upset about that, that's a separate story. But if you if you think with a logic mind and say, wait a minute, I used to do all this and now I'm not able to do all that, so maybe I should look at what has changed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
lose it.
So we can do that. So tell us also about some of the other experience you have shared, couple with me, with one family. If anybody else had a chance to.
Someone said that they got the book and their son, I don't younger. Geez, I couldn't tell you an age.
Mhm.
Three. Well, I don't know when they start reading. 3 to 6, somewhere in there. But he was reading it without help. Like he walked in and his son was reading it, and he asked him what he thinks it is, and the kid said, "Oh, those are his fears." And then the dad said, "Oh, well, I think it's his depression." But they brought up the conversation, and that was important too, because the stigma you mentioned, there is a huge stigma on it, and especially when you're in that situation, you're scared to bring it up. You're scared, what the hell's wrong with me?
Mhm.
So the fact that it brought up a conversation, especially with kids who don't really understand what these things are, I don't think yet. Why am
Mhm.
I feeling it this way? So that made me feel really good that it brought up the conversation.
Yeah, and how hard it is to ask a kid, "How's your day?" and everything okay, everything okay. They never speak up, so they're into different introvert world, and we have to poke them until they really speak up a little bit, right?
Yeah, really let it out finally. But they might not even understand why they're feeling this way, so they don't say anything. They just,
I see when I saw some of the picture from your book. This is such interesting concept. I was thinking while we are talking, is that actually, when we talk about medicine or we talk about mood disorder, a lot of things people never actually can have a 3D picture of it. I'm
Mhm.
so glad you put a picture there, was is in the bed or something, because that kind of translate those feelings. Like you can do a portrait, and you can people who understand that portrait will, and your pictures are not difficult to understand. Actually, you can look and feel that
Mhm.
maybe me are feeling down and in the bed and not moving, right?
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Like it's a physical version. I can actually see what this feeling feels like. And I
Yeah.
like the Weird Long Dark too. It looks kind of like squirmy intestines, and I didn't really mean that to begin. Like when I did it, but afterwards I analyze it, and those butterflies, those horrible big metal butterflies you get when you're having these anxiety attacks, feels like all squirmy like that. And I was, oh, that's totally the squirmy feeling. Like I didn't even mean that when I originally did it, but I was so happy that I discovered
Mhm.
maybe it's subconscious. That feeling just came out when I was doing it. I'm really happy with how that came out. This whole thing.
Oh no, I believe me, I have of course I do medicine for so many years. I have never ever seen somebody did that.
Mhm.
So that
Oh,
is
wow.
such a beautiful concept what you have described. I will tell my patients to read this because
Oh,
this
thank
is
you.
so good, because they can see your picture, then it brings curiosity to everybody just to check out and see why is this person writing or drawing like this. So that kind of brings that, that nature to explore that, and then we will look for more deeper, open up the book and see what you were trying to say. Yeah, absolutely amazing what your work you have done. uh, you
Thank
know
you.
uh, Congratulations once again. Like I said, you can find any encyclopedia and DSM or psych, e- big books, and they'll tell you side effects, they'll tell you 10 other symptoms, but nobody even understands those terms are so hard, and you made it such easy for pictures to kind of portray that feeling into pictures, 3D images, and or what, the pictures which come and make you think really, why is this picture like this, why is that person like. So show me any more pictures in that book.
Another one's my favorite one. It's really the only positive one in here,
uh,
where I think can't leave the house, can't eat, but the cat. I'm a big animal person. I love my buddy. Um, but I'll read it once I find it here. I'm a little bit confused. I don't know what to do. So on the living room floor I sat. In
mm,
came my buddy, so cuddly and fuzzy, curled up and purring on my lap. And though it is here, it didn't come near. It was scary and it was weird and it didn't like my cat. So the weird long dark didn't like the loving he was getting from his cat buddy. Or your animals, how we find that
mm,
reassurance and that unconditional love from our pets.
mm,
Well, yeah, he's petting his cat, and the weird long dark is there, but it didn't bother him. It didn't get near him. So that was kind of the only positive one in there. Because
mhm.
I love my cat buddy so much.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, how many cats you have?
I just have one Wilford.
No,
He's not,
great.
he's not, he's not around right now, but yeah, he's a good buddy.
They're
I
good,
love
buddy.
him.
So can they sense when you are happy or sad?
Yeah, there's a moment on the down spots or the up spots. We'll chase each other around the house. It's pretty funny. It doesn't take much to get him all riled up. But when I'm in one of those down spots, he'll sleep at night. He'll stay with me a little closer or lay down right. He knows when the weird long dark is hanging around. I
Okay,
really,
so he'll come close to you and maybe
yep.
just touch you a bit,
Yep.
and then
Because
so.
he's not a very cuddly cat either. So when
Early,
he does
yeah.
that, he knows that
Mm.
and we get something from that. There's that unconditional love from
Mm.
our animal buddies. I'm a big proponent of animals. I love the buddy.
No, that is so interesting that the cats can sense it, and then sad, but a lot of humans don't sense that.
Mhm.
Even
I think
our
it's
parents.
they don't know what they're sensing, but I think a cat's closer to it or a dog. Dogs are really notorious for that when you're sad, laying up and putting their
Mhm. So
little
that's true. That,
yeah.
yeah, dog. Now, yeah, I've heard a lot of stories from dogs owners, but cat, I have heard few for sure, and I'm glad you're sharing that. I've heard usually they will just come and just do cuddle with you more. That I have heard a couple of times. But dog, they really go with your mood. They can kind of get.
Then when you're scared, or if there's somebody there that you don't like, they'll sense that right away. They totally
Mm,
know. And
yeah,
I judge a person, not to judge people, but I'll judge a person how an animal reacts to them, or I guess how they treat animals too. You can tell a lot about a person. I don't
that's
like to
true.
judge people,
That's true.
but you can tell the bond between animals and person. You can tell a lot about a person.
That's true. That's true. So we are at the end of the podcast. So tell me your
Okay.
final thoughts. Any,
Tell me what, I'm sorry. I was talking over you. I'm sorry about that.
I say, any final thoughts or final message would you?
Just that I got another book in the works. This one really, on a bunch of different levels, I kind of had to make this, and I'm so proud of it that it's out. The cross hatching, I love cross hatching. It's something I've been doing for years, and to actually have a vehicle for it, for for my work, for what it's about. Lulu.com, Walt in the Weird Long Dark. Just It's
Yeah,
been out a couple of weeks, and I've already gotten a bunch of awesome just reviews and people and response, and I'm really proud of this book.
yeah. I put that for audience to look at, and it's on
Mhm.
lulu.com,
Thank
and they can check it out. And so it was such a pleasure meeting you, talking to you, Joshua. And so we really have well recognized your work for my audience. They can check it out at lulu.com, and also audience go and get his book. It's really a good stuff. Looks like definitely a very creative way of discussing the mood disorders, and not to mention getting awareness out, and then that stigma thing will go away, because more we discuss, more we help each other.
you.
That's what we really need to do. Well,
Yeah.
thank you with those once again coming, and so give us feedback and check him out. Take
I
care.
want to thank you. Thank you for having me on and being able to talk about it. I
Take care.
appreciate it.
Take care. Take
Yeah.
care. Bye.